We are back. We are back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2026 WG mock draft. And this one's special because a week from now, at the time we are recording this mock,
Yeah.
the NFL draft will not only be held, but be held in our hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yes, sir.
Gonna be sick. It's gonna be a fun couple days. Luke and I at least are going to night one. Dante, you said you might be heading down there. You're not sure yet.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see because it seems like I don't know. It feels like I'll just get home at 4 a.m., you know?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Luke, you
Yeah.
are going and working a little bit too, which is fun.
hmm
So,
Yeah, it'll be a lot of this, what my background today is today on Zoom, closed roads. So
well, I tried to tell him, he painted a good picture, but it's not 100% realistic. There's too many cones around. The Pirates took all
yeah,
the cones. So,
the first place Pirates of the NL Central. It's true.
yeah.
Still long that last, but they're looking good.
Dante, don't ask me why I think this, but your hairstyle right now with a mustache kind of looks exactly like Connor Griffin.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I get that with my
Mhm.
height too. I'm
Yeah.
6'5".
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But
Yeah, you
I,
also you also get paid $130 million at work.
yeah,
So
yeah. Shout out WG. We're really on the rise. Yeah.
yeah, right.
And I also get O'Neal Cruz a lot. That's another one. Um,
Well, not since he cut his dreads.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, now
Well,
it's not quite as uncanny.
hopefully you're not like O'Neal Cruz at work where you're dropping phones everywhere when, people are tossing you things and you can't like hold on to it.
He's
Sometimes
been
you
better.
sometimes you
He's
go
been
too
better.
shallow,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Adam, anybody ever tell you look like Gene Segura?
me, no, no, I haven't gotten that one
You ever got that
before.
one? Yeah, I could
Uh,
guess.
yeah. But anyways, this is WG, and as always, we're your hosts, Adam.
Dante.
And Luke,
And yeah, Dante, I don't know how much you've read into these mocks. I really haven't read that much this year because Carolina's pick 19. I'm not really used to having that low of a pick, but I'm not opposed to it at all. As you can see, I'm rocking a hat that says Division Champions on it, so I'm certainly very happy about that. I have a guy in mind that I want us to take. We'll see if he's there at 19, and if he is, I'm certainly snagging him. But
I'm pretty
um,
sure Drew Allen will be there, Adam.
yeah, oh, dude, you're on to me. Like all right, I was gonna keep it a secret, but guess now that you know, like, all right. Well,
Truthfully, before we start, obviously I'm not going to take him in the first round, but I wouldn't mind it in like the third or fourth. I
yeah,
would just say that.
Yeah,
I am growing on to the idea. I do think I was talking to friends, family the other day. My prediction for Drew is, um, what did I say? Did I
you said
say
late day
late?
two, early day three.
That's what I said. Late day two, early day three,
Yeah.
to where you could see him like if the Steelers have a later third round pick, draft him. If not, look very early on day three, like
I would
around.
take like a Garrett Nussmeier, even Carson Beck. I mean, I know I joked with Adam about him earlier today, but I honestly
Mhm.
wouldn't mind it. Like, I just want
Yeah.
somebody.
It all
So,
depends on the value. Like if you take Carson Beck round one, then you're like, If
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
take him round like five, that's not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Just leave room for Will Howard to start. We know he's the
We'll
guy.
see. Or if
Oh,
Aaron wants to come back, he said he'll say if he'll, he said he'll make his decision before draft day, so we'll see.
It'd
He
be
doesn't look
interesting
like
if
okay. Yeah, we'll see.
I wonder if Pat McAfee's doing some kind of show from Pittsburgh on draft day. It'd be interesting if Aaron comes on draft day and is like, "Yeah, I'm coming back."
and then the Steelers see that and like, all right, we're not drafting Ty Simpson first
Yeah,
round.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
and
And
the
steals the
Steelers are
spotlight for
like,
himself.
"Great, our entire draft
Or
board
the
is
Steelers
screwed."
see that and then still draft Ty Simpson. Then it's like kind of
No
uh
spoilers. I'm kind
yeah.
of hoping, but anyway.
We'll see. All right.
Well,
Speaking of drafting quarterbacks, probably
let's
just get
get
the first couple
into
out of the
it.
way here.
I guess I have the first overall pick here. I have the order written down. I have the teams, and I have who's making each pick. I shared you guys your picks earlier, so
Yep.
you should have it in mind. But I guess I'm on the clock first with the Raiders, number one overall. Yeah, bit of a rough season last year from Vegas. A team I expected a lot more from. They looked very good on paper and just did not perform on the field. Now they've had a good offseason. They've brought in some pieces. We're able to keep Max Crosby, which is nice. But they need a quarterback. Yes, I know they brought in Kirk Cousins. That doesn't mean anything. Maybe he starts the first month or so, but Kirk is not the long-term answer there. So I think it's pretty obvious by now the Raiders are going to draft the guy that might be Kirk Cousins' doppelganger
Yeah.
because of how similar their personalities are. And that
And
is,
just like how they look. They look
yeah,
similar too.
true. Fernando Mendoza, lock for number one. In fact, I had it written down in the notebook earlier. So yeah,
It's the most
pretty
obvious
easy,
pick since Caleb Williams, I think.
pretty much.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So Luke, you got the Jets at two.
Yeah, all that I've seen in mock drafts is that it'll kind of be a coin flip between Arvo Reese or David Bailey from Texas Tech. But Ohio State is nothing if not first round U these days. So I think they're going to take Arvo Reese right away at two.
Nice.
All right.
All right, I'm up with the Cardinals, and like Luke said, it's basically a coin flip at 2 or 3 between Arvell Reese and David Bailey. So that leaves me David Bailey, and I could really see the Cardinals. They really need help with their pass rush. I mean, their best pass rusher last year was who? Like Calais Campbell? Was he a Cardinal? I don't even know. I don't
He
I
even
might
think
know.
he
have been.
was.
I
Yeah.
have no idea,
I
honestly.
think he was, but yeah, they need a star edge rusher, especially in today's league. Like all the good teams really have good edge rushers and edge rushing duos. So I'll go with David Bailey at 3 to Arizona.
All right. Now I'm on the clock at four with the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Titans, another team that's had a good offseason. They brought in an entire new coaching staff, an entirely bald coaching staff as well, which is interesting for better or for worse. But one thing the Titans really haven't addressed is running back. Now, they have Tony Pollard, who not bad by any means. Ty J. Spears is a fine RB2, but I am going to have them drafting a difference maker here that will help them both this year and into the future. And I think you can already tell who that is. Mr. Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame is going to be a Tennessee Titan.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm going to keep the train rolling here. I hate to just see the top 4 or 5 guys that are ranked on the board here, but I think I've read up on him. I've studied some of the film, and I think Sonny Styles is flying up the board. He had a historic combine. I don't think the Giants pass up on him.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is back before the combine even started, Sonny Styles was like mocked to Carolina all the way back in 19. I really wanted him, but that historic combine now he's like a top five lock. There's no chance we get him. So yeah, great player for the Giants to get. But Dante, you are on the clock with your favorite team in the NFL at number six.
If we just scroll down the draft for it, I'm just kidding. I think it comes down to 2 players here for the Browns, and they're both the Ohio State guys. You know how much Cleveland loves their Ohio State guys, and for good reason, as do most teams in the NFL. I.e., going back to like 2018 and drafting Denzel Ward with the 4th overall pick. This is like the least, like as a Steeler fan, this is what I would hate the most. But I truly think at 6, I think the Browns are going to land Cornell Tate, wide receiver from Ohio State, which would be a fantastic pick from them. Which also leads me to believe they might not do it because it would be a fantastic pick, and the Browns usually don't make good decisions like that. But they need a wide receiver one. Jerry Jeudy is like their one right now. They failed the Elijah Moore experiment years ago and haven't had a true number 2 since. And I think Carnell Tate could be that guy. Though the track record for Ohio State first round guys has not been great within the past like 2 years or so, with Marvin Harrison not quite living up to his full potential. But then again, you look at guys like JSN, Olave, other guys like that. Carnell Tate is going to be a star in this league. But I don't know how much of a star he'll be on the Browns, but we'll see.
All right. On to number seven with the Washington Commanders. And by the way, for Carnell Tate, I can vouch why that's a good pick, of course,
Yeah,
if
of course.
anybody can. But on to number seven, what I know about the Commanders is they badly need secondary help. If I've known anything about them this offseason, everything I read is the Commanders secondary was terrible last year. They need help in the secondary. Now, there were 2 guys on the board here that I was eyeing for the Commanders. Honestly, I thought Dante was going to take one of them to Cleveland when he mentioned Ohio State, but since he is still here, I'm going to say Caleb Downs is a Washington Commander. The other guy I was considering was Mansour Delane. He was going to be the guy if Downs had gone sixth, but since Downs is there, I'll take him seventh. 6-7.
I'll cut right to the chase. Thank you for pronouncing his name for me, Adam, because I would have certainly butchered it. But Delane is not going to last any longer. I think the Saints are happy to snatch him up at 8, even though the one true need wide receiver. They lost it on Cardinal Tate. It's a little early now for anybody else, so I'm going to give them Delane and help help their secondary, which they still badly need.
All right. Dante, you are up at 9 with a team that is not normally this high in the draft board. The Kansas City Chiefs, after missing the playoffs for the first time since, I think, 2014, they have the ninth overall pick.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Like this is the highest position they've been since drafting Mahomes years ago, which is kind of crazy. Um, but as you see within their needs, they really do need an edge guy opposite of George Karlaftis, and I think Ruben Bain at 9 is insane value. I hear he's kind of boomer bust, but if he hits, he's going to be a star in Missouri for years to come. So I'll go with Ruben Bain Jr. Well, not Missouri anymore. They're actually in Kansas now. So well, once they
Yeah,
move
kind of
to.
crazy.
But anyway, yeah, Ruben Bain to Kansas City, which we will all hate, but got to put up with.
All right, let's wrap out the top 10 with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I am torn on what to do here because the Bengals kind of need two things. They need defensive help with Trey Hendrickson leaving this offseason, but I think something they need more is offensive linemen to keep Mr. Joe Burrow healthy
True.
because seeing that guy get injured, it's a travesty every single year because we're robbed of one of the greatest quarterbacks in his prime. He gets hurt way too much. I think that's a higher priority. The Bengals need to address that line in the draft. Now, there are plenty of guys here, and I'm going to go with another Miami guy that has some insane value. I thought would be a little higher on this draft. Francis Mauigoa, if you pronounce that right.
Margot.
I apologize if I'm
Close enough.
butchering it, but I
I
think
don't
he's
know
going
any
to be a
better.
Bengal.
Here we go.
All right,
Yeah,
Luke.
I'm gonna. So the Dolphins here were licking their chops, thinking that Francis, as we'll call him, might have fallen to them, but Adam with the Bengals snatches them up. I have them taking our first big surprise, and for the first time in the WG mock draft, we're gonna need to go to the search bar. He's not right there. It is a wide receiver, but it is not.
Not Makai Lemon.
It's not Makai Lemon. Oh, what's his name? I'm sorry.
Jordan Tyson.
Yes, it is Jordan Tyson. I think
Mm.
that he matches what they're looking for more. I think they're not afraid of in Miami. I don't think they're afraid of a bit more of a character case. Although maybe new head coach, maybe that changes, but it's certainly a need for them. And I think they snatch up what they probably might think is the second best wide receiver in this class behind Carnell Tate. I think they go Jordan Tyson at 11.
All righty. All right, I'm up for Dallas. If we if we look at Dallas last year, explosive offense. Sorry, I just spit everywhere. That was gross. Explosive offense, um, lacking on defense though. Just had a few guys depart. Logan Wilson retiring. Um, so they really need to boost up their back end or just their defense as a whole. And I think what they'll do here is go best available. And I think that's Dylan Thieneman from Oregon at safety. Any help is good help for Dallas currently on the defensive side of the ball, just to get a good balance and get their offense rolling. Not get their offense rolling, get their defense locked down and their offense on the field way more. So I'll go with Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon, safety.
Sounds good. All right. I'm up here with the Rams at number 13, which normally you don't see the Rams as high either, but this one really wasn't their doing. And I want to say thank you to the Atlanta Falcons front office, former GM. Oh God, what was his name?
I have no
The one
idea.
that got fired. All right, hold on. Quick look up. Gonna use Google here. Falcons former GM.
While we're waiting, Tante, how do we feel about the
Oh,
Pirates?
what's his name?
Feel pretty solid about the Pirates right now. Our rotation is really
There.
nice. Um, but
They're the
yeah,
best, probably arguably the best starting rotation in baseball.
Okay.
yeah, very good.
Terry
Got the trends
Fontenot is
behind
his
them.
name. Terry Fontenot,
Yes.
thank you for being an absolute idiot last year and trading back up into the first round to draft James Pierce Jr., who is in fact a terrible human being. So, yeah, Rams on the clock here at 13 with the Falcons pick. Now, another team I don't really know where to go. I'm not really sure the Rams need anything. The Rams are one of those teams where they just are great at pretty much everything and they hit on value everywhere to where I feel like the Rams could just go best player available. Um,
Well, I was just gonna say real quick. I'll give you some
yeah.
time to think. It is absolutely wild that according to PFF, their biggest need is wide receiver.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't get
Puka
that.
Nacua and Devontae Adams. I get Puka Nacua has had some mental health or off the field stuff, but
yeah.
still,
Puka's been a bit of a weird case this
I
offseason,
think
and
he's in
I think
rehab.
they're
But
still trying to extend him, which now that JSN got paid by the Seahawks, that contract for Puka
makes
only
life
got more
harder.
expensive. But I think wide receivers are the least of their problems. I see tackle as the second need, and I was actually thinking Spencer Fano. So I'm just going to go with him. I feel like he's the best player available on the board right now. So we'll go with Fano. I actually, fun fact, almost had him at Cincy at 10. He was the guy I was considering next to Malago. So we'll go with Fano at 13.
Okay, the Ravens. I think that they think that their Super Bowl window is still open with Lamar. I think we know them. I think that they're. You laugh at that, don't they? I think they're probably a bit set in their ways with wide receiver. I see that as a need, but Lamar has missed significant time in the past couple of years. I think they're going to shore up the offensive line a little bit. I actually have them coming right here. Lord help me with this name. I have them taking Oliva Vega Ione from Penn
Penn
State.
State.
That's definitely not how you pronounce his name, and it might be a bit of a reach in the draft. But that's why I have them taking. I think they shore up their offensive line a little bit.
Hold on. I gotta
Ooh,
zoom on the
I'm
board.
gonna need some phonics for that name.
I
But
think he just goes by Vega.
Oliva Vega.
he definitely does, and I should know that of all people. But
I
Vega
do. I
Ione,
don't learn the names of Penn State offensive linemen until the draft. Truly,
and they're always Penn State offensive linemen are always uh, going high in the draft. So
and like always with long names, like
yeah,
there
but they're
was
always
Olu Fashanu last year to the
Samoan
Jets.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Anyway,
fun fact about this guy Dante before you go, um talk about a big dude. I learned this last night when I was on my PSN TV show. 6'4", 329. He is a massive
Big
human
dude.
being.
that dude's big.
Big dude.
Dude's a big guy.
That
Yep.
is
6'4". It says 6'4", 328 on
wow.
PFF.
Okay, well Google might be wrong by a
He
pound,
was
but
eating during the offseason. That's crazy.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm up with the
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as you see, team needs top need is tight end. Even though they do have K Dotton, who's like not terrible, they do need another weapon for Baker Mayfield. And arguably, in my opinion, this guy could be labeled the best player in the draft. Kenyon Sadiq was absolutely lethal in at Oregon. We can vouch for that as Penn State fans. So I'll go with
Mhm.
Kenyon Sadiq at 15 to the Buccaneers.
Oh man, that I will just reveal it. That is the guy I'm hoping Carolina drafts this year.
Ah, sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. That would be a great pick for the Buccaneers. It would kill me a little bit, but it's a great
Oh
pick.
man.
No, 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 it's fine. I don't want you to get down about it. Yeah, that would be a great pick for them, but don't worry, I have other ideas for the
Here we
Panthers.
go.
All right. Well, 16th with the Jets. Now, you could see the first position there of need, and that is the area we're going to go here. I will just start off by saying that this pick is from the Colts when they traded Sauce Gardner back at the deadline, which was a
Stupid Colts.
shock to me personally that Sauce Gardner got traded and that he got that high of a return back. Now, I think the Colts made this trade in mind that they were going to make a big playoff run. They were at least going to be a playoff team, maybe win the AFC South, and then everything came crashing down. Daniel Jones tore his Achilles. Next thing you know, the Unk Philip Rivers was back in action. But now the Jets have another first round pick. And even though quarterback's an uncertainty besides Mendoza, I think at this point, you can draft a certain somebody. There's at least one more quarterback that you can vouch for being a first round pick. And Dante, I know you talked about him for the Steelers, but I think Ty Simpson is going to be the guy for the Jets here at 16.
That's less detrimental to the Steelers and more detrimental to Ty Simpson as a player.
Yeah.
He is just gonna, if he does go there, he will not
Good
succeed.
luck. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I normally wouldn't say this. I normally wouldn't do this. I part of me somehow looking like I know what I'm doing here is I have four mock drafts pulled up. Every single one of them has the Lions drafting Monroe Feeling. So I'm not some sheep who falls in line, but I think it's fairly safe to say tackles in need. Georgia, the dogs. I think the Lions here probably go Monroe Feeling.
I think that's a safe bet if
I
he's
think that's
available.
about as safe bet as it could be.
Shout out Monroe Freeling. I wrote a NFL draft profile for him for Com Radio. Shout out Penn State Com Radio.
Nice.
So
There you go.
love
All I'm
me
going to
some
say, Adam,
Monroe
is the
Freeling.
Panthers in our little mock here are 2 picks away from somebody really falling into their lap.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what Dante does here at 18 with Minnesota
Yeah, will
before
still
I
be
get there.
available actually.
We will
Um,
see.
so with Minnesota, um, obviously a pretty solid defense already. You could they would need a running back. I believe is Jordan Mason still there? I'm not quite sure.
I
Um,
think so.
so um, but this team is very defensive minded, especially with a leader like Brian Flores on the defensive side of the ball. And I think Emmanuel McNeil Warren would be a perfect fit in Minnesota as one of their starting safeties. He was very good at Toledo. Toledo secondary players really, making a name for themselves. Quinyon Mitchell last year, now McNeil Warren. Yeah, I like him at 18 to Minnesota.
I'm just writing his name down. Sorry, one
You're
second.
good.
Long name. All right. Here we go. Carolina at number 19. Now, as I said in the beginning, I'm not used to having a pick this low. Normally, we are in the top 10 range. We're in the 6 to 8 range, to be more specific. But this year, the Panthers decided to mess around and win a division title. Now, did they outright win that themselves? No. 3 teams tied for 8 and 9 in the NFC South. But guess what? Tiebreakers benefited us. That's why you sweep Atlanta. That's why you split with Tampa Bay. And that's why you beat the Rams and make other things
It's
happen.
they were just like Post Malone. They had some help.
Pretty much. They definitely had some help. But next year I'm trying to think of a Post Malone song that's kind of like a he's gonna do it himself thing, but we'll get there. Well, so obviously I mentioned it already. The Panthers desperately need tight end help, and Kenyon Sadiq is off the board, and I'm not really sure which tight end is the best behind him. Now, you could go offensive line, you could go defense, but I've seen some interesting buzz for a position that you may not think we need. I know PFF says we need it. PFF said the Rams need a wide receiver too. But, you know, I thought about it, and Tedero McMillan, eighth overall pick last year, fantastic rookie season, obviously offensive rookie of the year. Last year, or I guess the draft before that, the Panthers took Xavier Legette in the first round. They traded up to pick 32 to draft him. Love Legette, but hasn't really had the greatest career so far. He's kind of got bust written on him by now. Hopefully he can have a better I guess it would be third season in the NFL coming up. Jeez, time flies. But they actually asked Panthers GM Dan Morgan about this the other day, to which he said, I don't think there's a rule that says you can't draft a wide receiver 3 years in a row. There's definitely not a rule in this wide receiver or WG draft about wide receivers. And like Luke said, I think we were on the same wavelength here because somebody fell in our lap here. And I think it's going to be like the Panthers drafting the big name receiver like they did last year. And if this works out, I think Carolina is going to walk out of this draft with Mekhi Lemon out of USC at number 19, which would be fantastic.
That'd be huge if he fell to 19. I'd be so
I,
stoked for y'all.
Now, do I think he will fall to 19? Probably not.
I truly think at 19, either Lemon or Jordan Tyson will be available. I think at 11, um, Miami's either going to pick one of those guys because I think unless somehow Carnell Tate is still on the board, which would be insane. But I think either Lemon or Tyson will be on the board for you.
Sounds good. Or
So looking at
at the very worst, we can go with Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana. We got our
so
options.
looking
So
at the Cowboys. Sorry to cut you off.
you're
Now
good.
I think I'm gonna right away say the position I think is edge rusher. Look at a couple of names here: Akeem Mesidor, Falk from Auburn. At this point, the first edge or two is off the board already. They were off early, maybe two or three at this point. And I think it's up to subjective reasoning now. That at this point, Jerry looks at the board and says, "Well, there's a fella who went to Texas A&M, and I think they take Cassius Howell at 20.
Okay.
I think they need edge, but I think they might, Texas A&M guy maybe just a little bit over the other guys on the board there. I could see them taking Mesidor or Miami. They just went to the national championship, but that's what I think they did.
All
All
right.
righty. Pittsburgh Steelers. So if this was still Mike Tomlin's team, I would probably take Caden Proctor out of Alabama to shore up the trenches. But since this is a Mike McCarthy led team who is very offensive minded, um, like Adam said, well, similar to what Adam said, um, I don't know why you can't keep adding wide receivers. We obviously have DK. Traded for Michael Pittman. Haven't covered that on the show. Very excited about Pitt. I feel like that would be a great addition.
Yeah,
Um,
Pitt and Pitt.
yeah, but another great addition, I think, Adam mentioned him before. I think Omar Cooper is very possible at 21 for the Steelers, and I would love him to come here. He was crucial to that Indiana National Championship, and I feel like he'd be a really good three, maybe even developing into a two later in his career. But Omar Cooper at 21 to Pittsburgh.
Before I keep going with my next pick, I will just say Omar Cooper Jr. made one of the craziest catches I have ever seen in person. Luke and I could see Luke thinking about it already. We were at that game where Penn State almost knocked off Indiana, and
Yeah,
we were at the opposite end of the
We
field.
came closer than anybody else, by the way.
Yeah, we were at the opposite end of the field. I couldn't even tell if he got in bounds, but that's crazy play, unbelievable play. But yeah, that would be a good pick for the Steelers. But moving on, we have the LA Chargers here at number 22. And I don't know why wide receiver is their top need either. I mean, I guess you could use one, but the draft board should say one position for LA, in my opinion. Offensive line, and more offensive line.
bingo.
Justin Herbert is getting killed every single year on that field. And it doesn't help when the O linemen you already have that are great in Joe Alt and remind me the other guy's name. Rashawn Slater
Yep.
are getting hurt every single year. Doesn't help. They need another guy in there. And there are a couple guys on the board here. One actually Dante just mentioned that I see right there out of Alabama. So we're going to make Caden Proctor a Charger.
I can definitely see that.
All
Well,
right.
the Eagles are looking at Caden Proctor, I can almost guarantee you, but I'll keep this real simple. They're going to set up for the next best guy and take Blake Miller.
Sure.
We all know their affinity with the Georgia Bulldogs. They probably would have preferred Caden Proctor, SEC guy, but tackle is still a need.
Mhm.
And, if the draft happened in June, after June 1st, after A.J. Brown becomes a Patriot, then we would be having a different conversation. But the calendar doesn't work that way.
All right, Dante, you've got another pick for Cleveland here. This one from the Travis Hunter trade up last year.
Yeah, this one's interesting. I'm not fully sure where to go here. I feel like the Browns truly might go best player available. They already shored up their offense with drafting generational talent, Carnell Tate. I think Jermod McCoy falling to 24 is insane, but definitely understandable in terms of the players above him. But I'll go Jermod McCoy to Cleveland just to bolster that secondary even more and that defense as a whole.
All right. I got the Chicago Bears here 25th, who had a true breakout season. Caleb Williams looked amazing. The Bears won the NFC North and ended up going to the divisional round. Dante can raise his hand and say he called it because he did. He was the only one that was high on the Bears last year, and rightfully so. He nailed that one on the head. But now the Bears here at 25, another team that I really don't know what they do. They don't really need any offensive weapons. They certainly have those by the plenty. You could say maybe offensive line. I see center is a need on the board there. But I feel like if I'm the Bears, I want to improve that defense. Now, they were a team that went for Max Crosby. Apparently, I read they were unwilling to part ways with another first round pick, and that's ultimately why the trade didn't happen. Now, maybe that's for the better. Who knows if he had gone to Chicago, would the same thing happen and would he just end up being a Raider again? Who knows? That would also be very interesting because it would be history repeating itself because you remember way back in the day the Bears traded for Khalil Mack, and then they'd be trading for Max Crosby from the Raiders. But obviously, that didn't happen. That'll be known as a what if. But I think the Bears use that as the incentive to go with an edge rusher in this draft. Now, there are three names I could see here, and I'm kind of torn on which one to go with. We have Akeem Mesidor from Miami, we have Keldrick Falk from Auburn, and we also have TJ Parker from Clemson. But I feel like Akeem Mesidor is the better known name of the three. So I'm going to say Akeem Mesidor goes to Chicago.
Yeah, okay, so for the Bills, this is interesting. I think there are two, for me, obvious positions of need. Um, those being, I guess you could say offensive line, but defensive line certainly, edge rushers, also wide receiver. 'Cause they still, the Buffalo Bills still employ, what's his name, the guy that they trashed all offseason. The kid they
Marham.
drafted. No, the, the wide receiver they drafted.
Oh,
Uh,
what was his
I'm
name?
sorry.
Keon Coleman.
Keon
Yeah,
Coleman.
thank you. They still employ him after the GM said, "Oh, that wasn't my pick." So that's a wild situation. So I could see them going Denzel Boston here. I don't know though. I could see them going a bunch of different positions. I think they go TJ Parker at Clemson. I don't think they pull the trigger on wide receiver. I bet that they think that's the thing we can get in the trade scraps and something else. Also because of DJ Moore, I think they feel safe enough, even though there's not a lot of depth there, if you ask me. So I think they go TJ Parker and bolster that the edge rushing capabilities. I also think that the new head coach, I think Joe Brady wants to make a staple that he's just not going to draft offense. So
True. All right, Dante, you're up with your favorite NFC team.
I don't mind them anymore. They're fine.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
This one's tough. I feel like a lot of edge rushers have gone off the board already. But for me right now, it's between Keldrick Falk and then Max
Max I
Inebriation. I don't know. But I'll go with Keldrick Falk. I feel like that would be a good pick to go along with Nick Bosa and the other strong pieces on that San Francisco front seven. So I'll go with that.
All righty. Wow, we have had three straight edge rusher picks.
Wow.
I think that will be coming to an end here, partly because Will Anderson Jr. is going to get paid by the Texans, and the Texans defense was like historically good last year. They don't really need any defensive help. What I feel like they do need is help on the offensive end, and I feel like offensive line is more of the area of concern for the Texans. I mean, I don't really think they're going to go for an offensive weapon. They have Nico Collins, they have Tank Dell whenever he comes back. Certainly forgetting some other people. They have Dalton Schultz, who's good enough. David Montgomery they traded for, which great to see him finally getting a chance to be an RB1 again. He certainly deserves it. So I think it's all going to be about protecting CJ Stroud. And I think the only offensive lineman that stands out to me here is Mr. Max Iheenanker. Um, if I certainly got that wrong, but something about an anchor. Though the word anchor is in his last name. So we're just gonna call him Max Anchor. He goes to the Texans at 28.
Sounds good.
So the thing about the Chiefs is they let the Rams take like half their secondary. Trent McDuffie, that they are bleeding in that position. They're bleeding in a couple positions. They're in an interesting spot. And you look at the needs on the board. You look at what they have available to them. I don't think they go wide receiver because I think that these GMs probably view it as a more replaceable position, especially in the draft. You want the value that's on the board more than wide receiver. You look at what they did the past couple of years. They can wait a little bit for that. I think they go corner. They could go offensive line here. They want to protect Patrick Mahomes, but he's been sort of an Iron Man in his career before this injury last year. So do they go Avion Terrell or do they go Colton Hood? I think they go Colton Hood. I think I think they dip. Tennessee. I think I don't know what it is about it. Kind of a coin flip, but I think that's what they do.
Cool. That makes my job easy then because with Miami, I was going to go with one of those guys. I'll go with Avion Terrell then.
Alrighty, Luke with the Pats.
Just do me a favor. Could you go? I'll take the cover off real quick. Could you go to the edge rusher? Can you filter for positions? That very very simple. That is the need.
Dude, how he's going to be a steal.
Yeah, look at it. So here's what I think the Patriots might trade down actually, because this is really a trade. Like they might trade out of it for this because I think Mike Vrabel. I think they reach here. I think they go Mason Thomas. I think edge rusher is just that much of a need. That's what they do. I'll give them Mason Thomas here. It's very early for that, but I think
So
it's. Let me tell you, it's so much of a need. I can see them trading out of the first round.
so why is his name R Mason Thomas?
Yeah,
That's
I was wondering that.
I have no idea.
uh
Let me look that up.
yeah, I'm looking up.
I'll just
His
yak a
name
little
is
bit about. I
literally
don't. I
R
mean, we
Mason
could go.
Thomas.
Denzel Boston is sitting right there. We could go a nice wide receiver whose last name is Boston. But I
There
think
you
we're hanging on for AJ Brown. I don't. You can ask Diana Rossini, but I think we're hanging out for AJ Brown.
She was just like getting the follow up. That's all.
there
Yeah.
there it doesn't stand for anything. There's literally just an R in front of his name.
Yeah.
Okay. Could go defensive line in certain a variety of different positions. But what's the last good ed rusher the Patriots have had? Matt Judon. Keon White was supposed to be something. He was nothing. And
Mike
Matt Judon,
Vrabel.
there you have it. So that's why I'm reaching. I could see them trading out of the first round. That's where we sit. So
Finishing
somebody
off
finishes off.
with the Seahawks at 32. I had this being an all WG pick. We can, if somebody wants to take it, they can take it, or we could just all agree on something. Doesn't matter to me.
Uh,
What,
hmm.
I guess, why don't we go around?
They kind of got bled for defense over the
Yeah,
offseason.
I was gonna say, what's the big need? I would agree on defense. They lost a lot of their playmakers.
I might go Caden McDonald.
I was
Um,
thinking Caden McDonald.
yeah.
Now, I'm surprised he fell this low. I thought he'd be a little higher on the board. Luke, do you have any pushback on that?
I'm not opposed to that. I could see CJ Allen as well.
That's
I
the
mean,
one I'm playing.
there's just no like corners available. That would be the one thing they lost Rick Woolen. But Kate McDonald, that's as good as any answer you're gonna get. So
Cool. Wanna go
that
that?
does the voice.
All right. Let me write that down real quick.
Not half bad. I'm actually sort of impressed with ourselves.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, I think when you factor in what they need, it's pretty easy. And a lot of it I feel like is common sense. Like the Bengals and Chargers need O linemen. The Commanders need secondary help. The Dolphins need a wide receiver. The Raiders need a quarterback. The Jets need everything. So that's
The Jets need Jesus Christ.
yes. Yeah, no, I am convinced that not even God can save the Jets.
How about
They might
that? We drafted three Ohio Staters in a row.
yeah,
Yeah.
hey, I'm certainly not opposed to that.
That's
And
crazy.
Um,
then two for Miami, it's a national championship effect. A
Yeah.
Penn Stater goes in the first round. One, two, three, four, five Ohio Staters on an off year, arguably. Um, there you have it.
Panthers get a wide receiver. I wouldn't be opposed to that. That's all I'm going to say. But we'll have to wait to see what goes down on Thursday, April 23rd in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right in front of the Yak Acrisure Stadium. Yeah, stay tuned for some possible WG content. Not exactly sure what the plans are yet. At the very least, I'll probably have my dad or a friend record my reaction to Carolina's pick. So
Dante, we can send you in with a pair of meta glasses and you can ask people what they think about,
Yo.
I don't know. You can
That,
ask people what they think about Antonio Brown's brain.
Larry Ogunjobi.
We'll find something to do. Yeah, you
If
can
I
ask
do
people
go,
about
that's
Ryan
the jersey I'm
Fitzpatrick.
wearing, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
all right.
It's
Well,
Steelers by Dante to announce a pick.
I will be there. I'm Ogun Joberg now.
Elgin Joe
that's
I
right.
stand
Yeah.
corrected. I
The
stand corrected.
the biggest Larry Ogunjobi fan ever. And I talked to my dad and my uncle about WG, and even they are like, yeah, he loves Larry Ogunjobi. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Hey, I'm a huge Jake Arrieta fan. I wish he worked out more on the Phillies. He just didn't work out. It's okay.
Oh
Yeah, I mean,
man, I
people
like.
know the Larry O is rooted in satire, but then after a long time, it's not anymore. Truly love the
I
guy.
honestly, I didn't know it was written in satire.
Yeah, I thought
I
you just
thought you
really
just
like
like
him.
adored the
So
guy.
quick origin story before we go about Larry O. So like I was talking with my friends and we were like, who's the most underrated Steeler? And I was like, Larry Ogunjobi. He's so underrated. And they're like, nah, like he's not that good. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stand on business. So I just like anytime Larry O got a good
Like
TFL, good
Lario,
tackle,
yeah.
good sack. I'm like, look, bro. And then that just stemmed into me being the biggest Lario fan of all time. And ultimately getting his jersey from eBay for like $20. I'm like, how? But yeah,
Not bad.
and
Not
him
bad.
liking my story on Instagram, like hell. But yeah,
Very
love
cool.
Larry O. Shout out. We'll get him on the pod soon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us on our end of the return to the mic for WG, the 2026 mock. I believe this is our fourth year of doing a mock draft, maybe fifth.
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't think we
Mhm.
mocked 2022. No, we definitely did not because Luke, you weren't on the pod yet. Um, Luke
I
was
think
very
we
much.
Yeah.
did. I think we
Oh, we
did.
You
actually,
guys
yeah,
might have.
you and I did. I do remember
That's
that
Sam
because
Howell.
yeah, I was
That's
gonna
Sam
say,
Howell here.
yeah, Sam out. Okay, so fifth ever WG mock, but fourth with the trio. So all right, well, we'll certainly catch you after the draft with some reactions. We're your host, Adam.
Dante.
And like.
We'll see you in Pittsburgh.